Alright. A one recording tangent of every single leftover recording I have left. Starting with first day of school, Non-Clop. Be a few hours later. Rainbow's left to pick up Sonic Boom. Both of you took a shower to clean up after your quality time together. Which eventually turned into more quality time. She left you completely spent. You wonder if you have enough energy to keep up with that little ball of energy. Sonic Boom comes flying through the door and goes straight to you, small tears in her eyes.
Dad, I never want to go back there again,
She exclaims, sobbing.
There's a meanie there who called me names.
Oh, hell the fuck no. You lean down and hug her tightly. Rainbow comes in behind her, a somber look on her face as she walks over to the two of you. What happened, Sonic Boom? What'd she call you?
She called me.
She sobs, sniffling a bit.
She called me Skidmark 'cause of my hair.
She starts crying again, gripping your shirt. Oh, hell to the fuck no. You pick her up and carry her over to the couch, holding her in your arms while consoling her. Tell me everything that happened. Your mom and dad will take care of it. She takes a moment to calm down, and finally begins to tell you the events of her first day at flight school.
All right, have an awesome time,
Rainbow exclaims, hugging Sonic Boom tightly before she flies off. Sonic Boom looks back and waves as Rainbow flies off. She immediately goes to a group of young Pegasi, gathered in a circle. She peeks over one's shoulder. They're watching two Pegasi play a game similar to checkers. Holy fuck. The one with the glasses is awesome. He's raping the other player like a Catholic schoolgirl at this game. The other one rages and flips the board before flying off in anger. He chuckles, watching the other one fly off.
Whoa, that was awesome,
Sonic Boom exclaims, flying up to the one in the glasses. His hair is a faded brown color, and his body is a lighter shade of brown. His eyes are light blue, and he wears a red vest over a black shirt. He also wears a watch on his left forehoof.
Thanks. Name's Typhoon Wind,
He says, holding up a hoof.
What's your name? My name's Sonic Boom,
She exclaims, bumping his hoof with hers.
It's awesome to meet ya. You must be really smart since you wear glasses and all,
She says, smiling brightly. He smiles back and fixes up the board. Yeah, I guess I am. You want to play? He asks, fixing the pieces up for another game.
Sure. How do you play?
It's easy, really, once you get the hang of it. Here, I'll show you, he says. They begin the game. Sonic Boom loses. They try again now that she knows how to play. She still loses.
Whoa, you're unbeatable at this,
She exclaims, laughing.
Where'd you learn to play like that?
I never liked flying to be better than others, he says. I like using my head instead of my wings. He gives her a competitive grin, flexing his wings out. Even though I could beat anyone here in a race. Oh shit, it's on now.
Want to back up those words?
Sonic Boom grins back, getting up on all fours.
You're on.
At the starting line, Sonic Boom and Typhoon Wind are both at the ready. One of the other ponies goes down to start the countdown. He has light blue hair and small freckles dotting his cheeks. His eyes are blue as well, and his fur is a gray color.
All right, are you ready?
He calls out. Both Sonic Boom and Typhoon Wind nod.
On your mark, get set.
Both ponies' wings extend.
Go!
They speed off onto the track. Sonic Boom seems to have the lead at first, but Typhoon Wind gains on her quickly. Typhoon Wind finally pushes past her, the two of them inching closer and closer to the finish line. Sonic Boom growls, before pushing further and catching up. One of her wings knocks Typhoon Wind's face in the process, knocking off his glasses. From the loss, he closes his eyes. Sonic Boom speeds ahead in the process, crossing the finish line just a split second before Typhoon Wind. Every pony cheers for Sonic Boom. Her eyes widen, and she smiles brightly. She looks over to Typhoon Wind. She gasps a bit when she notices his glasses are missing. He quickly flies off to grab his glasses before returning.
Nah, it's all good,
he says, brushing them off before putting them back on.
You still won, fair and square, even if I hadn't lost my glasses.
She smiles up at him, and they bro hoof.
Whoa, that was amazing!
The gray Pegasus from earlier flies over, landing next to the two of them.
You both were totally neck and neck with each other. Oh, I'm Thunderstorm, by the way. I'm Sonic Boom,
she smiles, bro hoofing him as well. Seems like a pretty awesome start to her first day of flight school.
Come on, hang out with us,
Typhoon Wind says, smiling at Sonic Boom.
I'll introduce you to the rest of the group.
She nods.
All right,
she exclaims, following him.
This is Streaking Comet,
he says, pointing a hoof at a dark purple Pegasus. He has a lighter purple hair, and short bobbed tail, and bright green eyes.
He's a bit
off, Typhoon says, wincing a bit. Sonic Boom walks up to him.
Heya, I'm Sonic Boom,
she says, holding out a hoof. He gives her a devilish grin and nods quickly, bro-hoofing her. She's a bit creeped out, but continues following Typhoon.
This here's Ivy Whisper. She's a bit shy, though,
he says, pointing at another Pegasus. She has a forest green tint to her fur, and yellow-green hair with teal highlights in it. She steps back a bit, her green eyes wide as she hides behind her hair. Fuck, that's a lot of green.
Hey, I'm Sonic Boom!
She smiles, walking up to the Pegasus. She squeaks a bit before flying off.
Don't worry about it. She'll warm up to you.
Typhoon says, smiling.
Anyway, this one here is Flash Kick,
he says, pointing his hoof at another. This one has red, spiked hair pulled back behind him. He wears a light blue jacket, and his fur is a light brown. He has dark freckles dotting his face like Thunderstorm, and is wearing large, black shades.
Sup,
he says, never getting up from lying on his back, his forehooves behind his head.
Hey there! I'm Sonic Boom, she says,
holding out a hoof. He smirks and bro-hoofs her.
So you beat Typhoon, huh? Guess you're pretty fast then,
he says. She smiles brightly.
Really? I don't think she's so fast.
A grittier, female voice comes from above them, before landing on the cloud. Sonic Boom turns around and looks at the newcomer.
Who are you? My name's Ingerin,
she says, walking forward.
And I'm the fastest flyer here.
Typhoon scowls, stepping in front of Sonic Boom.
What are you doing here, Ingerin? I'm here because I'm meeting the newest addition to your ragtag group of dweebs, she says, walking past Typhoon and right up to Sonic Boom. So, you're the one who beat Typhoon, huh?
Sonic Boom nods a bit hesitantly.
Pathetic,
she scoffs, turning her head.
I don't believe it. You must have cheated. Hey, I didn't cheat,
Sonic Boom exclaims, growling.
And I said you did, Skidmark.
Ingrid growls back. Sonic Boom's eyes widen.
What? You heard me. What's with that brown streak in your hair, huh? You rolling a pigsty or something?
Ingrid smirks.
No, I've always been like this.
Sonic Boom steps back a bit.
Ha! You hear that? She's always been a Skidmark.
Ingrid laughs.
Skidmark, 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 she taunts.
Tears begin to well up in Sonic Boom's eyes.
Hey, quit picking on her.
Thunderstorm steps between the two of them. Ingrid scowls.
What are you gonna do about it? Tell on me? Go on. Do it. And be the coward you are.
Thunderstorm's eyes widen a bit, but he doesn't move.
Hey, you quit messing with the new kids.
Flashkick sits up and walks over.
You gonna be like Thunderstorm and back down, Pipsqueak?
Ingrid growls, rearing up her talons. Typhoon Wind walks over, the three of them forming a line between Ingerin and Sonic Boom. Sonic Boom's lip is quivering a bit. She sits down and looks away, tears in her eyes. Streaking Comet and Ivy Whisper walk over next to her.
What are you gonna do, Ingerin? It's 6 of us and 1 of you.
Typhoon Wind smirks.
You may be a griffin,
but even you can't take on 6 Pegasi. Ingerin scowls before flying up in the air.
Just remember, Skidmark, that's all you'll ever be,
she says before speeding off. Sonic Boom sobs a bit, as the 5 of them turn to pull her into a group hug.
Hey, don't listen to her.
She's just flank flustered because you're new, that's all, Thunderstorm says.
Yeah.
She sniffles a bit.
She always picks on people who are new to fight school,
Typhoon Wind says.
Don't let her get to you and she'll stop bothering you.
She nods.
I guess.
Sonic Boom mutters, rubbing her nose with her forehoof.
Thanks, guys. Hey, let's head over to the mess hall. We'll probably feel better after we get some food in our bellies,
Streaking Comet says, flying up into the air. Everyone agrees, and they head over to a large building on the other side of the track, Sonic Boom following behind. Yeah, maybe she'll feel better after she eats something. The 6 of them each get food, and sit together at one of the tables.
So anyway, there I was. The finish line just feet away, when Typhoon here comes out of nowhere and speeds off past me.
Flashkick exclaims, waving his hooves around in demonstration of how fast Typhoon was moving.
Whoa, that's awesome!
Sonic Boom exclaims, cheering. Yeah, Typhoon says, taking a bite of his food. Then I went and kicked his butt at my board game afterwards. He grins at the purple colt.
Hey, you're practically unbeatable at that game. That was totally not fair,
he says, growling. All 5 of the others laugh.
So, Sonic Boom, how are you liking it here so far?
Ivy Whisper turns to the blue filly.
Aside from, well, you know.
Sonic Boom smiles at the green-colored filly.
I actually like it here a lot,
she says.
Sure, there are a few ponies that, well, don't like me, but I'm not gonna let that get me down. That's so, Skidmark.
A voice comes from behind her. The rest of their eyes widen.
Where'd she come from?
Sonic Boom slowly turns around, her face riddled with fear as the griffin comes into view, talons crossed at her torso.
Don't think you learned your place back on the track, Skidmark.
Ingrid scowls. Sonic Boom gasps quietly, but never even has a chance to react. Ingrid reaches forward, grabbing her by the mane and pulling up. Sonic Boom yelps out in pain, unable to do anything.
Hey! Let go of her!
Typhoon scowls at the griffin, quickly leaping up onto the table.
You want me to let her go?
Ingrid grins before slamming her head into the table, right into her tray of food. She's seriously thrown for a loop, her eyes fluttering a bit.
Oh my gosh! Are you alright, Sonic Boom?
Ivy Whisper lifts her up off the table. Sonic Boom has pieces of food littered in her mane, her head still spinning. Everyone in the mess hall starts laughing at her. She quivers a bit, before tears begin flowing down her face unhindered.
Ha! Guess you got more than just a skid mark in your mane, Skidmark.
Ingrid laughs with the rest of the mess hall.
Ingrid, that's it. You've gone too far.
Typhoon and Flash Kick leap forward, fully ready to tear the griffin apart. The griffin scoffs, leaping up into the air and dodging the initial charge. Flash Kick doesn't let this stop him, though. He pushes off the ground with his forehooves, managing to knock Ingrid with one of his hind legs. The griffin scowls, swooping around and going for Typhoon, grabbing him by the wings and crashing him into the floor. Flash Kick's eyes widen, but he does not falter, charging at Ingrid.
Ha! Weak,
she says, holding out a talon to stop him. Nope.avi. He leaps up, using his wings for extra air, landing in front of the griffin, bringing his hind leg up, clocking her in the jaw and sending her back. In Sonic Boom's dizzy state, she swears she can hear Flash Kick yell, "Down! Charge! Up! Heavy attack!" as he brings his leg up.
That's just a taste of the Flash Kick, you bully!
He exclaims, flaring his wings out. Ingrid gets up, growling angrily, before rearing back and letting out a half caw, half roar, and charging at the colt.
Alright, that's enough, both of you!
Another voice bellows, before a whistle is blown at the two of them. Both Flash Kick and Ingrid stop right in their tracks, and turn to look at the source. It's from an older, buff stallion. Stereotypical buff coach? Yep.
That's all of the fighting you'll be doing.
He scowls at the both of them.
Yes, Coach.
Ingrid immediately steps back a bit.
I didn't hear you!
He exclaims, blowing his whistle once again.
Yes, Coach!
She stands tall.
Good. Now you best shake hooves and make up right now, or I'll be having you two doing laps until your wings can't hold you up anymore.
The coach belts out. Ingrid scowls, then looks to Flash Kick. She holds out her talon. Flash Kick holds out his hoof. They go to shake, and at the last second Flash Kick pulls it back and brushes the hoof through his hair, before slipping on his shades once again.
Deal with it,
he says before flying off. The coach walks over to help up Typhoon.
Hey kid, you gonna be alright?
He asks. Typhoon nods.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
He says, flexing out his wings a bit.
Sore, but fine.
The coach nods, and then walks off, Ingrid following behind.
See you later, Skidmark.
She whispers from behind the coach's back. That's the last straw for Sonic Boom. Is she going to attack the griffin like her friends? Fuck no, you serious? She's like 4. She flies off crying, out of the mess hall, food still in her hair. Typhoon's eyes widen.
Sonic Boom, wait!
He shouts, following after her out of the building, but she's already out of sight by the time he gets to the doors. He calls out her name, but his voice just echoes, and she's nowhere to be found. The rest of the group flies over to him. Come on, Typhoon. She'll show up eventually, Thunderstorm says, before landing on the cloud below them. It'll probably be good if she's alone with herself for a while, he says. Typhoon and the rest reluctantly follow, except Ivy Whisper. She sees a small blue patch of fur hidden in one of the clouds. It's tiny, but it's still there. She flies over to it, landing on the cloud. Sonic Boom?
Go away! I don't ever want to be seen in there again!
She exclaims, sniffling a bit.
You know, you're not the only one that Ingrid's hurt. She's made fun of all of us at some point or another,
Ivy says.
But she backs herself up with the fact that she's the fastest in the whole school. No pony has ever been able to beat her in a race, ever. I don't care about that! She made fun of my mane.
Sonic Boom mutters, trying desperately to clean the leftover food out of her mane.
Called me Skidmark because of the brown that runs through it. My dad always said he loved the brown. It's like his hair,
she says, poking just the top of her head out of the cloud.
But now I'm the laughingstock of the whole flight school because of it.
She starts sobbing again.
No, you're not. Don't let her get to you,
Ivy says, walking up to Sonic Boom.
She may be the best, but she only seems popular because she intimidates every pony so much.
She leans her head down and begins to clean Sonic Boom's mane with her mouth, getting all of the bits and pieces of food out of it.
Ah, what are you doing?
Sonic Boom asks in a surprised tone.
Getting all the food out of your mane, duh.
She giggles a bit.
Can't have you going out and having all that food in your hair, now can we? Might as well. Just a skid mark after all.
She grumbles, sliding out of the cloud and laying on it, while Ivy continues moving through her mane.
By the way, who exactly are your parents?
Ivy asks, looking down at Sonic Boom.
My mom's name is Rainbow Dash, and my dad's name is Anon.
Sonic Boom says. Ivy lets out an audible gasp.
You're their child?
She asks, clearly surprised.
Yeah, what about it?
Ivy blushes hard.
Wow, now I totally see it,
she says.
You look almost completely like your mom.
Sonic Boom sits up.
Yeah, so? Every pony kind of looks like their mom. No, I mean, have you heard the stories of what your mom did?
Ivy asks, her blush slowly fading before returning to munching on her mane to get the food out.
No. Aside from what she's told me, she's met the princesses and the Wonderbolts and stuff,
Sonic Boom says.
Not just that, Sonic Boom, but many more awesome things, she exclaims rather quietly. Your mom was the only one that did a sonic rain boom.
Sonic Boom's eyes widen to the point where they could pop out of their sockets.
You're kidding, really?
Her voice stammers a bit. Ivy nods.
My parents were at the Young Flyers competition in the audience before I was born. They told me how amazing it was to see a sonic rain boom in person. It was like nothing they'd ever seen before,
she exclaims, smiling brightly.
Whoa. So that means if my mom can do it, why can't I pull it off?
Sonic Boom grins widely.
I did learn all I know about flying from her, after all. Exactly. If anyone has a chance of pulling off a sonic rain boom, I know it's going to be you,
Ivy says, holding up a hoof.
Sorry about running off like that before.
She turns her head a bit timidly. Sonic Boom smiles and bumps her hoof.
Don't worry about it. Besides, I think I can give Ingrid a run for her bits if you guys are behind me on this.
Be near the end of the school day. Everyone's kind of wound up after the food kicked in. They're out on the track, racing one after another.
Hey, Ingrid!
The Griffin turns to look at where the voice comes from.
I challenge you. 1-on-1.
The Pegasus with the glasses growls, his hooves in a ready position.
Heh. Whatever, Typhoon. You're still gonna lose,
she says, flexing her wings before heading over to the track. Typhoon follows, both of them going to the starting line.
Going to pay for what you did to Sonic Boom.
He scowls at the Griffin.
Let's see you back up those words, Egghead.
She grins, sinking her talons into the cloud below her, as the announcer flies back onto the track.
All right, 1-on-1. On your marks, get set,
Thunderstorm says, raising a hoof.
Go!
Ingrid sprints off before taking off with her wings, using the push-off from the cloud as an extra speed advantage over Typhoon as they shoot down the track. Typhoon scowls, pushing ahead of the Griffin.
Oh, no, you don't,
she exclaims, grabbing his hind leg with one of her talons, pulling him back and shooting ahead toward the finish line.
Hey, that's not fair, you cheated!
Typhoon shouts as she passes the finish line.
Prove it, Egghead.
She smirks at him. He scowls and then looks around.
Did anyone else see it?
The Griffin looks around as well.
Yeah. Did anyone else see it?
She asks, clenching one of her talons into a fist. Every single filly and colt in the crowd shuts up.
I didn't see anything.
One of the younger fillies calls out from the crowd.
Good, Peregrine. Always a smart friend.
Ingrid grins, bringing down her talon.
Now, anyone else gonna be as stupid as he won? Stop right there, criminal scum!
A young female's voice calls out. Ingrid raises an eyebrow, looking to the young filly. Fucking Sonic Boom.
That was how you say it, right?
She turns and looks at Flash Kick. He sighs, face-huffing himself.
Yeah, that was fine. Just do your thing,
he says, shaking his head. Sonic Boom walks over to Ingrid, a confident grin on her face.
Why don't you take on someone your own size?
Ingrid snickers a bit before belting out a loud guffaw.
Ha! Yeah, right. Who do you suggest? I'll kick their sawyer butt all the way back to the mess hall. How's that hair treating you, by the way? Got all that food out?
Sonic Boom growls a bit, before leaning down and tackling the Griffin.
You want me to make you eat those words?
She scowls down at the griffin. Ingrid scowls back, before pushing the young filly off of her.
Oh, you're gonna get it now. Meet me on the track. I'm gonna show you how much I'm out of your league, Skidmark,
she says, flying off. Sonic Boom growls, and flies off after the griffin to the starting line. Thunderstorm flies up onto the track, flexing his wings out.
All right, 1-on-1. Winner gets to face me because I'm itching for a race after watching all these races,
he exclaims, grinning.
Shut up and start the countdown,
Ingrid scoffs, digging her talons into the cloud below her. Thunderstorm grumbles before raising his hooves.
On your mark, get set.
Sonic Boom growls, her hooves dug into the cloud as well.
Go!
Both of them speed off at the exact same time, neither one getting ground on the other as they speed off down the track. They get about halfway, before either of them says anything.
You're pretty good, Skidmark.
Ingrid smirks.
But you're not gonna beat me,
she says, clawing at the filly's left wing. She yelps out in pain, crashing into the clouds below them as the griffin speeds past the finish line. Sonic Boom buries her face in the cloud, hiding her tears and muffling her cries. The rest of the 5 fillies and colts huddle around her while Ingrid plays the crowd at the finish line.
Oh no, this is bad,
Ivy mutters, looking at the wing. Many feathers were ripped right out of the wing, and the wing bone itself was red.
Comet, you go get the nurse,
Typhoon says. Streaking Comet nods, speeding off.
Come on, Sonic Boom. Let's get out of here,
he says, nudging her flank.
No!
She cries out, still hiding in the cloud.
Come on. We need to get that wing of yours taken care of. It looks like she hurt it pretty bad,
he says again.
No! I'm not coming out!
She exclaims, digging herself even further into the cloud. Typhoon sighs.
All right, you're leaving me no other choice,
he says, looking to flash kick. He nods, grabbing her by one leg with his teeth, Typhoon grabbing the other. They pull her out of the cloud, lifting her into the air.
Hey, Skidmark!
Ingrid calls out to her.
Glad you chose to race me. Now we both know who's on top,
she laughs, and the whole crowd laughs with her, taunting with, Skidmark, Skidmark, as the group flies her away. Thunderstorm looks to the others and nods at Typhoon before flying back to the trek.
I've got a score to settle with her,
he says.
You feel proud of yourself?
Thunderstorm scowls, flexing his wings out at Ingrid as he lands on the finish line.
Hurting new students like that? What makes you so special that you're allowed to do that, huh?
She scowls at the Pegasus.
Because it's important that all newcomers learn their place, fast. Just like you did, and Typhoon, and all the other misfits from your group, she says. Misfits, huh? Well, that's something, coming from one of the only griffins here.
Thunderstorm grins. Oohs were heard from the crowd.
You've gone up against Sonic Boom and Typhoon Wind, and you've only won because you've cheated. Let's you go up against someone like me, someone you've not gone up against in a while.
He grins, flexing his wings.
Fine, but not here. I have a much better idea.
Ingrid smirks at the Pegasus.
What's that? Meet me up top, at the graduation track. We'll see how good you are then,
she says. A few gasps from the crowd.
But isn't that track where all the clouds are unstable?
Thunderstorm gasps a bit.
One of them could shoot off lightning at any time. Shouldn't be too much for you to handle, given your name.
She smirks. He growls.
Fine, you're on,
he says, flying up to the larger track above the school. She follows close behind him as they enter the graduation track area. The clouds up here are much darker and the air is heavier. The track is longer as well.
Time to see if you can back up your words.
Ingrid grins, walking over to the starting line. You too. Thunderstorm smirks as they take their place.
All right. On your marks. Get set.
A small filly pokes her head out of the cloud. Ingrid growls. Thunderstorm spreads his larger-than-average wings.
Go!
They both speed off, Ingrid using the push-off from her claws and Thunderstorm using the push-off from his wings. Their speeding through the track is causing the clouds to act up, lightning jumping between various clouds from the movement.
You know why I love this track?
Ingrid grins at Thunder. What's that? I can't hear you over the sound of you eating my trails, he laughs, pushing ahead. She grins, gripping him by the hind leg.
Because it's so easy to get rid of the competition,
she laughs, throwing him back behind her, directly towards the bolts of lightning. He gasps, closing his eyes and flying blindly into a cloud.
Ha! Serves you right for trying to challenge me.
Ingrid stops and takes a moment to laugh at the colt. Fuck no, that's it. Thunderstorm bursts out of the cloud, flying with the speed of 2 Kenyans towards Ingrid. She barely has time to react before he crashes into her, shocking her with all of the static electricity he's gathered, before flying off toward the finish line. He passes it, and lands on the clouds, just as Ingrid flies past. He's panting for breath as Ingrid lands in front of him, scowling.
You may have won, but no pony does that to me,
she says, raising her talon to claw at him. He quickly reacts, headbutting her in the torso and sending her back a few feet, before speeding down out of the clouds. I won! I won! He exclaims as he lands in the crowd, flexing his wings.
No, you didn't.
Ingrid scowls, flying behind him.
You came in just after me and then attacked me,
she exclaims, pointing at her matted fur from the electricity. The crowd gasps.
No, I didn't. You're lying,
he exclaims.
Am I? How else would my tail have gotten singed like that?
She growls, holding up her tail. Sure enough, the tip hairs were completely black.
That wasn't from me,
he shouts.
Sure it wasn't. And maybe earth ponies can fly too.
Ingrid scowls, walking away.
Get out of here, you cheater,
she says as the crowd eyes him before following her.
But I won,
Thunderstorm mutters, his wings and ears drooping as he realizes the futility of it all.
Come on, Sonic Boom. We've got to get you to the nurse one way or the other,
Ivy says, flying next to her.
No way! Nurses have shots and needles! I hate shots!
She exclaims, trying to fly free of the Typhoon and Flash Kick's grip, but to no avail.
She's not gonna give you a shot!
Typhoon Wind growls, pulling harder to match her increased effort.
Don't strain your wings so hard either, Sonic Boom.
Ivy looks at her with a worried face.
I don't think it's good for it. This is nothing,
she growls before flapping harder and letting out a yelp of pain. Both colts use this opportunity to pull her the rest of the way into the nurse's building. She quickly runs to the filly, closing the door.
Streaking Comic told me everything. Let's get her bandaged up quickly, she says. You're not gonna give me shots, are you?
Sonic Boom's lower lip quivers a bit as she stops and lands on her feet. Flash Kick and Typhoon Wind let her legs go. Not before Flash Kick steals a look at her flank, though. Sonic Boom walks over with the nurse and leaps up onto the bed, where the nurse begins to bandage her wing.
You'll want to stay off it for a few days, at least, the nurse says. Looks like it got torn up pretty bad. What happened to it? Ingrid happened, she scowls. Oh my, the nurse exclaims, stopping the bandaging for a bit. Would you like me to have a talk with her?
Sonic Boom looks up at the nurse.
Really?
She nods.
Of course. I won't tolerate that kind of behavior done to new students. I'll talk with the coach as soon as everyone goes home,
she says, smiling down at the filly.
Really?
Sonic Boom's face beams.
Really. And if she ever bothers you again, just come to me and talk about it,
she says, smiling down at the filly, before finishing bandaging her wing.
Now remember, stay off that wing until it heals. I don't want you hurting it again,
the nurse says as the five of them walk out.
Thank you, thank you, thank you!
Sonic Boom exclaims, running back to hug the nurse.
Oh, think nothing of it. I can't imagine why someone would want to pick on such a friendly young filly like yourself,
she says, smiling and returning the hug.
And that's what happened,
Sonic Boom says, flexing out her wing to show the bandages. Fucking Griffin's gonna get what's coming to her. Sonic Boom, would you like it if we talked with her parents also? Her eyes widen and her mouth goes wide.
You can do that?
Totally, Rainbow exclaims.
I'm not going to sit by and watch while my own daughter gets bullied like that. Even the thought of it just burns me up on the inside,
she growls. Sonic Boom's smile returns, and she hugs your shirt tightly.
I love you, Dad,
she mutters into your shirt. You smile and hug her back, and Rainbow joins the group hug. We love you too, Sonic Boom.